I'm hurting. There are some things that broke my heart. I was utterly burdened, Paul says. His words. I'm burdened, but I set my hope, and my hope isn't shaken, although my heart is hurting. I wanted to interview some other people who might be able to corroborate Paul's theory of hope. That you can be burdened and not nervous. That you can be broke and not nervous. That you can lose your job and not be nervous. That you can find drugs in your kid's room and be concerned and be involved and beat them half to death, but not be nervous. Come on. So I asked David, really? You got to fight Goliath? David, nobody wants to fight Goliath. He is the Philistine champion from Gath. His body armor weighs more than you, boy. As a matter of fact, you have no fighting experience nor a military title. If you were smart, you'd go back home. Goliath has been defying these people for 40 days. There's a good reason they hadn't fought him yet. He's bigger than you. You know what David said? He said, I know. I see him. I know he's big. I know everybody else is standing back waiting on God to do something. But I didn't come looking for help from somewhere up there. I come in the name of the Lord God, and I'm not nervous. I know he's big. I know he's strong. I know I'm a shepherd. I know I have nothing but a sling and 5 rocks, but I might only need one. If I can steady my hand and stand my ground, I'm not nervous. Hey, Shadrach, they're about to throw you and your buddies in the fire. Now you understand, you have a little bit of time left. If you will bow before this statue that Nebuchadnezzar has erected. I mean, we talk about crazy leaders. They ain't got nothing on Nebi. Nebi was so arrogant. Nebi lost his mind. They said, you better bow to King Nebi. They heated up the furnace. They turned it up 7 times hotter. Don't you feel the flame? Can't you see that there's a situation in front of you that's too hot for you to handle? And Shadrach looked back at Meshach. Meshach looked at Abednego. They all looked back at the church at Elevation Church and said, we know, but we're not nervous. See, the God we serve is able. I said he's able to deliver us from the fire, and we believe he will, and we know he can. But even if he doesn't, I'm not nervous. Come on, somebody shout, I'm not nervous. Tell your neighbor real bold, look him in the eye, say, I'm not nervous. I'm not nervous. I went down in the lion's den with Daniel. Daniel was looking at a lion, y'all. He was looking at something that could have snapped him in half in a split second. Daniel, don't you see that lion? Don't you know your life is on the line? Don't you know you have a wicked king? Daniel said, I know, but somehow, some way, the God I serve will deliver me. I'm not nervous. Do you know how many dreams have died beneath the weight of that phrase, what if? What if is a phrase that I like to refer to as fear's greatest hit. What if? What if? I mean, how many things in your life did you not do because what if? And how many things in your life did you do that you shouldn't have done because what if? How many nights could you have slept, but what if kept you awake? How many mornings did you wake up anxious because what if was your alarm clock? What if? Not just what if. Moses wants to know, what if, pay attention to the next word. What if they? It's a good question, what if? And it's where many of us wonder and wander our whole lives. What if they laugh at me? What if they don't accept me? Now, on one hand, Moses is in a hypothetical situation because he hasn't even done anything yet, but he's just playing out the possible after effects of his obedience. What if they? But on the other hand, it's not hypothetical at all. It's historical because Moses is afraid of the same rejection that he experienced 40 years earlier, recurring for 40 years earlier, that Moses had killed an Egyptian in defense of his people. And because he did the right thing the wrong way, he ended up on the run. And there's something about when you've tried to do the right thing and put your heart in something, but you did it the wrong way, that you don't even want to try again. And so now Moses is asking something that's hypothetical, but is based out of what is historical, and he's projecting his past into his potential. And it's his limiting factor, but God wants him to know that that staff in your hand. Now to us, a staff is a shepherding instrument, and Moses was using it to tend his father-in-law's sheep. But to Moses, the staff represented a whole lot more than his vocation. It represented his mistakes. Because if he had never killed the Egyptian and ended up a fugitive on the run from Egypt, where he was born into or adopted into royalty, he never would have had the staff in his hand. So when God tells him what's in your hand, it causes Moses to have to reckon with the mistakes that he's made that have landed him in the position that he's in. Because when God speaks to you about your potential, he will cause you to confront your past. Touch somebody, say, handle it. So he says, what's that in your hand? And to Moses it's a staff, but to Moses is also his past, and to Moses is also his instrument, the thing that he has to do what he's doing. And so there's a whole lot happening in this staff, and yet God says what you have is what you need. And God wanted to say that to a single mom today, that what you have is what you need, that he put enough in you to raise that child. He foresaw that you would be in the situation, and he compensated for what others didn't give you by putting a resolve and a grit and a determination in you that's more than enough. And the Lord wanted me to tell you something about all these ghosts you've been living with, about all this guilt you've been living with, about all this hopelessness you've been living with, about all this offense you've been living with, all this sorrow you've been living with, all these threats you've been living with, telling you you can't, telling you you won't, telling you you'll never, telling you you're not. God said, now you know they're there. You got something for them. Oh, I got something for you, guilt. I got something for you, hopelessness. I got something for you. Touch somebody, say, I got something for you. But as for me, I trust in you. How can you say that, David, after 22 verses of despair? See, I walked through the house enough. Now I know where everything is hidden. So when it jumps out at me, I know exactly what to do with it, because I expected it. And since I expected it, I can expose it. I can expose it. I can't chase it. I tried to. I can't escape it. I wish I had wings, I'd leave. But since I have to live with all this stuff, I might as well. Here's what it said on one haunted house I drove by this week. It said, prepare to be scared. I thought that's a message for the church. Prepare to be scared. Arm yourself. Put on the full armor of God so that you can take your stand against the devil's schemes. Expect it and expose it. David said, I don't have wings. But remember, David, in Psalm 27, you said, the Lord is my light and my salvation. Didn't he say that? Didn't he say that? So I don't have wings to escape it. I don't have the power to chase it, but I got the light to expose it. The Lord is my light and my salvation. I'm not scared of you anymore. I see you there, but I see you for what you really are. Yeah, you don't look so scary like this. You don't look so scary now that I got the light on it. Oh man, up under that mask, God was speaking to you, wasn't he? That's what happens when the mask comes off. Everything that you were dealing with in your heart becomes exposed in the presence of God, and every fear that held you captive has to release you and let you go when you get the light on it. Come on, get the light on it. Get the light on offense. Before I put the light on you, you looked like guilt, but now you look like an opportunity for grace. It's not that the guilt went away. It's just that now I see my guilt as an opportunity to receive his grace. Talk to me, somebody. We're unmasking things in the presence of God today. You have to learn to separate out your courage from your conditions. See, if your courage is tied to your conditions, when your bank account goes down, your courage goes down with it. If your courage is tied to your conditions, when a certain relationship in your life starts going down, your courage goes down with it. How do you keep up your courage? Apparently, even when my conditions are outside of my control, my courage is never outside of my control. Your courage is under your control. He didn't say God's gonna keep up your courage. So stop praying, God give me courage. Because he's gonna say, I gave it to you, now keep it up. Keep it up, feed it. You've been feeding your fears, and now they're eating you alive. And you've been surveying your conditions and you've lost all hope. But Paul said, fix your focus. See, sometimes you can't fix the situation, and all you can fix is your focus. Paul said, right now, all I see is a ship going down. And I know that's all you see. And I know that's all you can think about. And I know that's all you can focus on. But last night, I saw an angel. I'm not looking at what I'm going through right now. I'm looking toward my future. And I'm looking back at what God spoke to me in my past. And so my focus is fixed. We always want God to stop the storm. Sometimes he doesn't. Sometimes what he wants to teach you to do is to fix your focus in the middle of the storm. Is this not what we see with Peter? Jesus, if it's you, tell me to come. Come. Peter starts walking. The wind starts blowing. As long as Peter looked at Jesus, Peter was fine. When he looked at the wind and the waves, what's that? Focus. When he started thinking about how rough it is out here, let me ask you a question. Was Peter any more able to walk on water if it hadn't been raining than if it was? If the winds hadn't been strong? Is he any more able to walk on water if the conditions had been clear? It's not about the conditions. It's about your courage. You can walk through stuff and live through stuff and be brave through stuff. I've met people who were dying and knew they had 3 days to live, who were bolder than most of us who are gonna live for 70 more. Why? They weren't focused on the fear. I'm gonna teach you a trick. Your fear is powered by your focus. If you take the focus away from the fear and put your focus on your faith, faith is also powered by focus. So you don't need God to stop the storm for you to get your courage up. You don't need God to fix the ship for your courage to come up. You just need to fix your eyes on what? On Jesus, the author and finisher of our faith, who for the joy set before him endured the cross, despising its shame. We can't walk by sight. We gotta walk by faith. He says, so I want you to go check it out. But check out Jericho, because that's the first city we got to beat. We just got to focus on the next thing we got to do. The first thing we got to do. We just got to focus on one thing at a time. If we get looking around at all the ites and the bites and the kites, we're gonna get all out of our minds, and we're gonna start sizing ourselves up. So just go check out Jericho. Just go check it out. But did you notice what it said at the beginning of the verse? That he secretly sent how many spies? How many spies? How many spies? Check this out. You only need 2 spies. You only need 2. Huh? What you mean? Well, when David said in Psalm 23, yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, bad news, I will fear no evil, for you are with me. Come on, I got a good report in the valley. Your rod and your staff comfort me. But I got to show you verse 6, because I want to show you the only 2 spies you need as you walk by faith. You only need 2. You're letting too many thoughts dominate your mind. You're letting too many opinions, and you're second guessing yourself. And God never called you to second guess yourself. He called you to trust in him. You only need 2 spies. And I'll show you what they are. Here's what you need. He said, surely your goodness and love. The old translation said, surely goodness and mercy will follow me. You only need 2 spies. You only need an awareness of 2 things. Whether the cancer goes or the cancer stays, surely goodness and mercy will follow me.